Good morning, Congressman Clyburn.
Good morning.
My name is Cameron Graham, and I am from Darlington, South Carolina. My question is, as a young African American 17-year-old male aspiring to enter the political arena, what advice will you give me?
And here's what I would say to you. Learn the community, learn the people. If you're interested in going into politics, then learn everything you can about the people you will ask to vote for you, the people you would ask to be a part of your constituency in whatever field that you may endeavor to go into. Now, I often say to people, don't try to change your personality to fit every person that you meet, because by the close of the day, you'll be all messed up. What you need to do is learn the people that you engage with. And if you learn them, if you learn how to respond to their dreams, to their aspirations, they'll take care. They'll make it their business, to get to know you. So don't try to change yourself. You say, I gotta say this when I go into this neighborhood, I got to act this way. When I go into another neighborhood, no, that's a no-no. Be the same, be yourself, but get to know the people that you're talking to.
Hello, Congressman Clyburn. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. And my question was, how did you rise through the ranks to go from minority congressman to minority leader?
Well, one of the things I learned when I got here in Congress, I started learning the people, studying the communities that they came from, learned everything I could about the people in our caucus. A lot of people wonder how, coming from little old South Carolina, in our Democratic caucus at the time, the 250 some odd people, John Spratt and I were the only two from South Carolina. And when I ran for my first leadership position, I ran against a member from New York, another member from California, and I prevailed because what I said to them that I had demonstrated time and time again that I did not mind putting the interest of my caucus ahead of my personal aspirations, and that I thought they could count on me in leadership to always do that. And I never allowed myself to ask people to make a choice between me and their personal friends. I would always be deferential to that. And so I believe that the reason I am the majority whip now is because I successfully interacted with people on their level. I never expect people to come to me. I always go to them. I have a little philosophy that I live by, and I say it this way. If the distance between me and opponent are 5 steps, I don't mind taking 3 of them. You have heard people say, I don't mind meeting you more than halfway. And that's all that is. Be willing to meet more than halfway. Most times, you will not have to take those steps.
Hello, Congressman Clyburn. My name is Hersh Patel, and I reside in Orangeburg, South Carolina. And my question to you is, how has the coronavirus pandemic affected the function of Congress?
I think that this pandemic has demonstrated that South Carolina, that the nation needs to come to grips with some very important issues. It has affected not just the way that we carry out our duties and responsibilities, but I think it has demonstrated that something has to be done to fix our healthcare system. Our healthcare delivery system is inadequate. Something has got to be done to sort of undergird our educational system. This pandemic has caused many of our school children to lose a half year. Some of you may have not been in school since March. Now, those of you who've been able to participate in online learning, then you were able to keep up. But think about those households where there is no internet, and therefore they were not able to participate in online learning. Many of them are not going to be able to go on to the next grade. And if this pandemic continues into next year, be it another spike or be it another round of the virus, a second round, and we have to lose another year of school, that means 2 years out of school for some people. So this pandemic has laid bare some real issues that we've got to face in South Carolina and in the nation. Broadband, as was mentioned earlier, next week, the House is going to vote on my broadband legislation. I've been fighting for that now for 10 years. All of a sudden now, the people are beginning to see a little bit about what we're talking about. Why we ought to make broadband as much a part of every residence as we have made electricity. I want to share with you all a little testimony I'd like to share that came from a farmer down in rural Tennessee who stood up in a church one night and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you this. The greatest thing on earth is to have the love of God in your heart. But the next greatest thing is to have electricity in your house." Now that, to me, says it all. Electricity is what made rural South Carolina, rural America, a part of the 20th century. I think that what we need for the 21st century is the internet in every home.
And I know you're chairing the Rural Broadband Task Force. So what are you working on to bring broadband to the rural areas?
What we're trying to do really is to bring all the forces together here in the Congress. And we're pretty much there. The problem we're trying to work out how to get everybody on the same page with what the technology ought to be. We're having some challenges getting people, like anything else. We talk about COVID-19. Now, there is going to be a vaccine at some point for COVID-19. There are about 19 countries working, trying to find a vaccine. There's going to be more than one vaccine developed. And the question is going to be, everybody's going to say, well, my vaccine is better than your vaccine. My vaccine is more potent than yours. We have that same problem with broadband. People trying to determine what is the best way to deliver high quality broadband. I think it'll be more than one way. Some people think the only thing to do is fiber. I'm not so sure that's the only thing. So my biggest job right now is getting people to agree to what the level of efficiency and perfection there ought to be for us to move forward with this bill. My idea is that we need to think about what is required to get healthcare, telehealth to everybody. What would be required to get online learning to everybody? What is going to be required for broadband to be in every home? What we got to do, basically, are two things: making it accessible and then making it affordable. That's our challenge. Once it's accessible, then the question is it affordable? So that's our challenge.
In what ways did Dr. King affect you and like living through that with him, in what ways did what he taught and what he preached as in civil rights, how did it affect you in your political decisions now, but also how can it affect us, our generation, and what we need to do for the future?
Thank you for that question. My relationship with Dr. King was transformational. I first met him the weekend of October 13, 14, 15, 1960 at Morehouse College down in Atlanta. I was a student at South Carolina State at the time. I went down to Atlanta with students from all over the country to talk about how to organize our movement so that it wouldn't be so fragmented. One group would be doing one thing, another group would be doing another. And there was some difference of opinion between us younger people and Dr. King and the older people. So we had a meeting one night. So same thing like today. So on this particular night, Dr. King agreed to give us an hour meeting after one of our sessions. The meeting started around 10 o'clock at night. When I walked out of that room, it was 4 a.m. the next morning. I was transformed that night. And I started reading everything I could about Dr. King. His first book, Stride Toward Freedom. I picked that book up and I read it and it became a part of me. His last book, I'm rereading again as we talk. I just brought it up with me. I went to the University of South Carolina Library, found out an old copy. It's called Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? The reason I went back and got that book is because of what's going on around us today. It's very chaotic and it's threatening our sense of community. So I'm rereading that book now. But here's the thing about Dr. King. I want every one of you on this line to do this if you will. Go and read his letter from the Birmingham City Jail. That letter to me is almost as timeless as the Bible. And in that letter, King talks about how we ought to treat time. I want to say this to all of you. King told us in his letter that he was coming to the conclusion that the people of ill will in our society make a much better use of time than the people of goodwill. And then he said to us, we are going to be made to repent in this generation, not just for the violent words and deeds of bad people, but for the appalling silence of good people. So the good people of America need to break their silence. We cannot be quiet when we see wrongdoing going on all around us. So if you don't do anything else, please get a copy of King's letter from the Birmingham City Jail and read it. And do like I have. I read it about 100 times. And every time I read it, I learn something else, or I internalize something else. So thank you guys for having me. I appreciate the time. As you may have heard a buzzer go off, that means it's time for me to go to the floor. Thank you.